Can confidence be quiet? That is the question at hand. And I ask this because there's this idea and notion that confidence is this static thing. It's something you either have or you don't. It's the Maybelline effect of life. It's either you're born with it or you don't have it. Which is what most people assume, to be fair. I was one of them too. And that we assume that you show up confident 24/7 every day of the week. But what does that actually look like for you and I? What would that look like? Well, it could look like this. It looks like you walk into the room and you want all eyes on you. You are your most extroverted, outgoing version of yourself. You are the main character in every room you turn up in. You are the light of the room. Everyone turns and say, "Oh, she's here." And yes, you march in majestically. You stress in. So that's one false idea, is that confidence looks like extroversion. And that it means standing up and being seen, being loud, being that main character in the room. You command all the attention. But you know what? I remember standing in a room with a client once, and we were talking in this idea of confidence. This woman is a leader in her field. She leads an entire laboratory. Her work in helps in diseases carried by insects in Africa. She is a brilliant woman, respected in her field. This woman turned to me and then said, "I'm not confident." And I was like, explain, because I was confused. I go, "Is that true?" She says, "Well, I'm not confident you know, like Beyonce." And I was like, okay. So we go back to that idea that confidence looks like being seen, being visible, being loud, being all eyes on me, being show stopping. That spotlight version is the only version that counts. That version where if you're not in the spotlight, you can't be confident. So I said to her, "Please, beehivers, don't come for me." But even the mighty Beyonce is not that confident, because she actually said this in an interview where she talked about when she first started out performing, that she had to step into the shoes of Sasha Fierce to show up. Yes, Beyonce, the noble Beyonce. For her to be able to show up on stage, she needed to embody Sasha. So if that divine Beyonce, and I say this tongue in cheek, beehives, please don't come for me, needed to step into a persona to feel confident, then what does that say for the rest of us mortals? So I said this. I said this to her. I said, "Okay, let me ask you a question. If I woke you up at 3 o'clock in the morning and asked you about your work, aside from you saying, 'What are you doing in my house at 3 a.m.?' would you be able to answer me? Would you be confident about your work?" She looked at me and she smiled and thought, "Of course, I would. I know my work like the back of my hand. It's what I do every day. It's my work." And I was like, "Oh, okay. So what does that look like when you are confident in your work? How do you sit? How do you talk? How do you show up when you are talking about your work?" And she says, "Well, I do this, I do that." She starts to explain how she shows up when somebody starts to ask her about her work. And I said, "Ah, okay, so I'm going to ask you again. Are you confident?" This time she saw where I was going and she burst out laughing. And she was like, "Okay." She said, "Well, I am confident in some areas." And I was like, "Okay, so you are confident in those areas of the things that you know." She goes, "Yeah." And I go, "You know what that feels like when you are in those spaces where you feel confident? She goes, yes. I go, so why don't you borrow from the part of you that already knows how to be confident and feels confident? And when you're in those spaces where you are unsure and afraid, just act like the version of you in those other spaces. She stopped. She looked at me and said, well, wait, what? I go, uh-huh. You're going to borrow from your confident self in that other space and bring it into the space where you feel less confident. So you're just going to act like you do when you're already confident during those moments when you don't feel confident. And he was like, that makes sense. I go, yeah, I know. I know it does. And this is the thing about it. Because here's the truth. This isn't about faking it till you make it territory. This is about acting like you already are until you remember that you already are. When you kind of go into those areas where you already feel confident and act like that when you don't feel it, you're coming from a place of memory. And really, for those of you who are thinking, well, I don't have those moments to draw from, then maybe borrow from Beyonce's book. Step into the shoes of a version of you that can be confident in those moments until it becomes natural, until it feels like home. So in your case, you may want to step into Beyonce, who's stepping into Sasha Fierce's shoes until a version of confidence feels natural to you. And then I started thinking, what does confidence actually look like when it's not the showstopper? Can confidence be quiet? Can it be still? Can it be calm? Can you be your introverted ambient self, the one who doesn't enjoy small talk, who isn't trying to be an isekai main character, center of every room, and still know that when a space needs your energy, you can step into it? Can you switch it on when needed and even when your voice shakes and still say, I'm here and I will use my voice because this room matters to me or this topic matters to me? Maybe confidence looks like you breathing slowly before you speak. Maybe it's how you lift your head after being interrupted. Maybe it's in your calm no. Maybe it's the way you walk in without shrinking and collapsing, even if no one claps when you do. That's still confidence, and that's presence. And this is exactly what we rewire in Recalibrate and Rise. Not confidence as performance, confidence as embodiment, where we embody that part of ourselves, not pretending, remembering. So I'll wrap this up by asking you again, can confidence be quiet? And what does your version of confidence look like?